It is Monday and it is officially, the girls went back to school last Thursday, but obviously this is the start of the first full week back. We're all ready for Joe Wicks. I'm trying to set up a printer because we had to buy a new printer. Well, we had to buy a printer, we didn't have one, in order to print some of the girls' homework, particularly Phoebe. She gets a lot of stuff that we really do need to print. So we managed to find a printer and we're just getting that all set up now. I've got a phone call with my boss at 10 to discuss changing my working hours around a bit because it's just not working, trying to work at the same time as educating the girls. So I'm hoping by the end of today we'll feel a bit more organised about our at-home routine. But for now, I'm going to get my trainers on. It's time for Joe Wicks.
She doesn't know. Oh, Lydia. Look into the lens and not the thing there.
Right, I'm doing intermittent filming on my iPhone and my new camera, just so I can get used to things and where to look for a start, and also just some of the settings. So I thought Phoebe's just doing some of her French lesson. Lilia's deep into some maths, and I wanted to just show you something quickly. Okay, so I've just literally snuck upstairs just for 5 minutes. I spoke to my boss this morning about rearranging my working day, basically, and I feel a lot better now. The last couple of days, Dan and I have had some discussions about how we're going to make it work. Now that it's obvious that we're really in this for a good few more weeks, we need to make sure that everyone's staying sane and getting done the things that they need to get done and feeling like they're achieving the things they need to achieve. And at least, because at the moment, I think we're feeling like we're doing a lot of things not very well, and with a little bit of a more juggled about routine, I think we can all begin to feel like we're accomplishing the things we need to. Obviously some things have to slide, and some things can't. And one of the things that can't is our work. We are paid to do our jobs, and that has to continue. And though my employer is extremely understanding and flexible, there was no problem at all when I spoke to him, and I just said, look, I'm going to be doing my 3 hours in the afternoon after I finish with homeschooling, and he was completely understanding of that. Dan gets up very early and starts work early so that he's more free in the afternoon apart from the odd meeting. So we're really beginning to get a really good structure to our days, so I'm feeling quite hopeful. So whilst the girls have got their heads down in lessons, and they don't really require my input for these lessons because Phoebe's doing French and it's very there's a very set work and she works through a video, but when she's doing things like maths or English, she sometimes just needs someone hovering about to answer any questions she might have. She's a bright kid, Phoebe, but just occasionally she just needs a little pointer, especially when it comes to decimals, in which case she's better off asking Dan and not me. But I was just flicking through this book. This is the book I got for my birthday Eve book. Oh, now what's it doing? I don't know what that meant. Maybe it's running out of memory or something, I don't know. It was the book that I got for my birthday Eve book, and it was a book I'd seen Sarah on the Yarn Mugs podcast talking about, and I just thought it sounded really interesting, not least because Florella Benjamin, the author of this book, I really remember her. She used to present a programme here in the UK called Play School, so growing up she was like one of the main people on television that I would watch, because there wasn't it wasn't like today, there wasn't CBeebies. So she was really a much loved person of my childhood. But I started flicking through the book. It's not a thick book, and I've read the foreword. This book was written, I think, in 1995 it was published. So she's written a new foreword that she wrote just a couple of years ago. which is really nice. But the illustrations are gorgeous as well, and that was really unexpected. The paper is like really thick and good quality, and then it's peppered throughout with these beautiful illustrations by Michael Frith. This is an illustration of Trinidad, but on every page basically there is either a tiny little illustration like this, the flower, or there are illustrations of people or fruit, just on every page, which makes this, I'm really looking forward to learning about her experiences and hearing the story, but to have these illustrations throughout which are so evocative and beautiful is just a real delight and surprise. So I just wanted to share that with you, just because I haven't read it yet, so I can't tell you how good it is, and I'm really sorry if I keep looking above the lens. But I'm really looking forward to it because it's quite clearly a very well thought out and very beautiful book. So I just thought I'd drop everything and come and tell you that. It's taken me nearly 5 minutes to do it. Right, we're going outside. As part of art, oh, it might be a bit windy out here, Phoebe's going to make a art sculpture using things we find in the garden. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So this is Phoebe's art based on the work of, what was his name? Of someone we can't remember. She's going to have a look. We've gathered all shells and pebbles from around the garden.
Andy Goldsworthy.
Andy Goldsworthy. Have a Google. He does a lot of nature-inspired art installations and sculptures. Well, I've just sat down to work and then the postman knocked on the door. This is from one of my very best friends in the whole world, and she obviously knows me well because she has sent me some giant chocolate cookies.
What? Can I have one?
With sprinkles. There's also a birthday card in the post, and it's from my boss. The post is a bit all over the place at the moment. And it's by one of my very favourite artists, and I don't think he knew this. I think it was just by chance. But it's by Tove Jansson, who's also the artist and author behind the Moomins. Really love that. I thought I'd share with you a little bit of our setup for our home school and working with no office and just a 2-room downstairs situation. So when the schools first closed, the girls both wrote down their timetables. So Lilia wrote down everything she does Monday to Friday, and Phoebe did too. So we had a good idea of what their weekly schedules were. And we've been kind of working to that, and we've been doing it for a couple of weeks now, and then we had the holidays to think about it. And today we've kind of worked out a much better but still quite rough schedule for how we're going to fit it in. So what we've done is we've allowed half an hour for each lesson, whereas at school they'd have 45 minutes to an hour, but at home they get through things a lot quicker. So lesson 1 is 10 till 10:30, and then we give them 5 minutes between each sort of lesson time to faff about and get ready and set up and all of that, go to the toilet and things like that. So 10:35 is lesson 2, and they each just stick to the timetables they have at school. Then they have a nice break where they can catch up with friends, look at their phones, muck about, catch up with each other, have a snack. And then we move on to another hour of lessons, and then we have lunch. And then in the afternoon, Phoebe always has something called guided reading, which tends to be like topic work or just time for reading or play. And Lilia has lessons in that time too. And on Friday, she's now doing her flute lesson by FaceTime. Then I'll just turn the camera around to show you the table. So it is slightly messy at the moment. I've got my tripod here because obviously I'm vlogging throughout the day. We've got the iPad set up for Phoebe to read through the instructions on a lot of her work. We don't need to print everything. We do need to print stuff that she does for maths because she has to, you know, work on the worksheets. But otherwise we're finding that the iPad's working quite well. Got Phoebe's spellings here. She has to still do all her spellings and test on them on a Friday. Except we haven't done them. We were supposed to test on Friday last week, but we didn't. But generally she's brilliant on spelling, so we'll maybe do that later. Inexplicably, we have yet another Lego collection on the table. Dan will sort that out later. We've got some crafty bits that have just been pushed to one side from the weekend, decopatching and clay modelling. They'll probably do a bit of that later. And then right over here, it's not the most ideal situation set up on a dining room chair, but we bought a £25 printer, which so far, for the first 2 hours of using it, has proved absolutely priceless. So that's just going to be set up there generally, and when we don't need it, it goes back in its box in the massive cupboard of doom under the stairs. And then when I work later, I have my laptop set up here, and I'll be calling the IT guys because I don't have administrator rights on my work PC, and they're going to set up the printer on my work PC. I have to work across two devices, so this is my work laptop, and I also use our shared home PC because I've got certain software on there that I can use for some of the tasks I've got, which have come to the forefront now that we're a closed museum operating mostly on social media. And I have a bag here. It is a bag that was a gift from a lovely viewer of this podcast, my Trader Joe's bag, which is now my office. So everything I need for my work, my notebooks, my folders, diaries, and all of the things I need, that's my inbox basically, it's in there. So I can just grab it whenever I sit down at the laptop. And that's how we're set up. And then through in the living room, it's like cribs this, isn't it? This is where Lilia sets up. She's quite happy on the sofa, as you can see. She does not have a laptop at the moment. Her laptop's being collected because it's malfunctioned. So she's using a combination of my laptop and her Kindle. What are you doing at the moment, Lilia?
Just looking through my script for drama.
She's doing drama. And that's how we operate day to day. Got to show, we've also got this bit. This is usually a really tidy area, but it's been given over to homeschooling stuff. So actually it's usually tidier than this as well. So each of the girls has a box, and in their box goes all of their homeschooling stuff, notebooks and materials, and it gets all scooped into there at the end of each day. So some of the stuff up here is just stuff that's come from their boxes and will go back. This mess here is all of Lilia's painting stuff. She's going to sort through that later. And then otherwise we've got books that they're in the process of reading for school, their class books, a dictionary, poems, several maths books, the library books that we can't take back because the library's closed, a few art things, and just general homework stuff. I've also got a folder here for completed homework that Phoebe's doing. So that's kind of like our classroom library. Right, we are on our daily walk. I'm going to try and film again. It was a bit too windy, but we're sheltered now. So what I was trying to say was we are going on our daily walk, which we are allowed to do once a day for exercise. And we're going to do the same walk we did yesterday, except we're doing it backwards. By which I mean we're not going to walk backwards. We're going to follow the route in the opposite direction. We could do it backwards, but it'd probably end in disaster. So that's what we're doing. We've all finished our work and our school for the day. It's about 4 o'clock. 8:30 and look at it. It's still really light outside and I'm standing right next to the dishwasher. I should probably move because it's whirring away and you can probably hear it. I'm just coming on to say goodnight because I am now going to go and put my feet up. I am very tired, so I don't think I will be up late tonight. And yeah, so Phoebe's in bed. Lilia will be going upstairs to read in about half an hour. My work here is done. So I'm going to go and relax. I think I'm too tired to even think about knitting or crocheting tonight. So feet up, bit of telly, bed. See you tomorrow.